I am, I've visited so many countries in the world, but I never ever thought that I'm going to get an opportunity to visit Bosnia and Herzegovina. Because we studied about Bosnia in our school, and I was in Delhi and sometimes in Mumbai, but I mostly studied my history in Delhi. And Bosnia is a famous country. It has a lot of important, significant role to play in the history of the world. And I almost forgot that Sarajevo is the place where Franz Ferdinand, what was the name of the Duke? Yeah, he was assassinated, and this led to the World War One. I almost forgotten that until my friend Iftikhar told me about it. So it's nice to be in a place which has played such an important part in the shaping up the history of the world. People are beautiful. I'm looking forward to going out today and seeing the real Bosnia. And I've heard that you cannot get enough of Bosnia even if you live here for a year or two. So I'm truly looking forward to seeing, getting as much of Bosnia as I can get in the next 3 days. You know, you'll be surprised. I have a, a, a CD of Bosnian traditional folk music. I bought it from Amsterdam, about 24 years back. So I have it. I never got a chance to listen to it. This was just a sudden trip. You see, I got to listen to Bosnian music when I was in the restaurant day before yesterday, and I heard some Bosnian music going on. But yes, I need to probably do a bit more research into it, and maybe you can help me out with that. Who are the famous singers? Who are the legends from Bosnia? I'd like to listen to them and see, how that music connects with me. See, I have been in the business for a very long time, and I have come to the conclusion that you are as busy as you want to be. If you want to work hard, you don't need outside work to keep you busy. I, I stay busy because I practice a lot. I, I am known for my focus in the, in the study of voice culture, and it's a different zone altogether. I mean, you can know the theory of music, but to know the voice culture behind various voices, and how other people sing, and how every singer from every country has a different tone, tenor. So I do all that study by myself. And yes, of course, there are no concerts at this point, but in between we did some online concerts. And then, as you must have heard, that about 2 months back, India went through a phase which was difficult for it to handle because we have a lot of people in our country. So there was suddenly an influx of lots of coronavirus cases. So during that time and even till today, as much as I can be of service to our country, our people, so we have been busy in that space too, providing ration, food to people, organizing vaccination camps, donating blood. So music, a little bit of uh, service to the people, and yes, a lot of good time with my father and my sister. Because last lockdown I was in Dubai. I couldn't get a chance to spend the time with my father. So this time I decided to be in Mumbai. So my wife and my son are in Dubai, and I'm with my father and my sister. So I spent a lot of quality time with my father this time. So I don't, I didn't see that I had nothing to do. I had lot of work to do. I was pretty busy. I would say I am a product of all that I've done. So I've I've been singing on stage since the year 1977. So it's been 44 years. It's going to be 44 years in September. I've been singing for the last 44 years professionally, making money. And then from 1991, I've been in Mumbai. So it's 30 years again in Mumbai. And then I started a television show in India called Saregama, which I was the host of. It was a music competition before the advent of those American idols, and do you have a Bosnia idol also? You have it, right? Yeah. So my program, which was called Saregama, was started in 1995, much before this concept of idol thing happened. So ours was a very, very hugely, immensely popular show, and I was a host of that. Then I did lots of non-film music. As you know, India has a lot of so-called Bollywood music, so we have songs in the film, but we also have independent music. So I did all that too, and they were acted in my videos, which people really enjoyed, people really liked. Then I acted in some films. Then I did RJ. I was an RJ in a radio station, a celebrity RJ. I gave music for films. One of my films, Jal, got nominated in the short list of Oscars in the year 2014. Yeah. So we've done lots of. I've written songs, made music. In totality, life is beautiful. I've really enjoyed being myself, and I wouldn't choose anything over anything. Concerts are beautiful. You get to meet people. You get to perform for people. It just humbles you down, and you feel that because I believe in karma, good karmas. I believe that I must have done something really good in my life to be what I am today. It's been a beautiful life. Emma, one thing which I have learned in my life is never try to play God, because you can plan, you can scheme, you can dream, whatever, but whatever has to happen will happen. His destiny will take him to a place which is perfect for him. I can tell him, okay, practice as much as I practice. Because I practice a lot. I still practice music. I still stay fit and all. But that's because I wanted to be. I want to sing. I love to practice my art. But maybe that's not the case with him. He's gifted, but maybe he has other interests, other inclinations. I do not want to impose my idea of success onto him, because even after attaining everything that I worked for in the last so many years, like 30 years in Mumbai, I realized I eventually became happy when I stopped being ambitious. You see, I was ambitious when I came to Bombay to become a singer, but when I stopped being ambitious, I started becoming happy. So why should I subject my son to ambition? Why should I tell him you have to be something, you have to beat your father, you have to be a certain way, you have to look a certain way, you have to sing a certain way, you have to behave a certain way? I think he's a very happy child. You've seen him. He's a happy soul. I don't want to snatch away his happiness by telling him what to do. So let destiny and the universe take its own course. I will just stand by him, stand by his side, whatever he wants to do. I'll be just very happy to observe from far his, his leap into his own destiny. It's very easy to take credit. People always say, I did this and, I worked hard and, it's all, I believe that, there are some things which are beyond your control. Like, when I woke up into this world, I could understand music. I could see the notes. Like, people listen to the notes. I could see the notes. I could see pitching. So that's not my credit. Some people are born tall. Some people are born beautiful, handsome. Some people are born with a mathematician's mind. That's not their credit. This is a gift. One must never take credit of one's success, because you are given something which is beyond your control. You suddenly wake up and you see that I'm the son of the richest man in the world. How can you take credit for that? That's not your credit. You're just lucky to be born a certain way. And then there are people who are born in Somalia without food, without shelter. Now that's not their fault. They're born a certain way. So I believe that success is very subjective. I feel I worked really hard, of course. God gave me the gift and I was focused and I really worked my heart out in the field. But I feel I'm lucky, I'm very lucky, I'm fortunate. And my real success is my detachment. The day I decided many years back, I decided that I'm not going to dream anymore. I'm not going to aspire for anything anymore. I'm not going to be ambitious anymore. I'm going to let life come to me. I'm going to take it as it comes. If it's sadness, if it's bad, something bad, I'm going to accept it with folded hands. That was the day I succeeded in my life. I feel that's what keeps me happy. That's what keeps me positive. The lack of ambition and the ability to uh, receive what God gives me is my real success. I don't know what I want to be, but I clearly know what I don't want to be. I clearly know. I don't want to be a desperate old man, a frustrated old man. I've seen a lot of people in my profession, especially, when they reach the age of 60, 65, they start feeling left out. They start feeling irrelevant. They start feeling as if life is now slipping away from their hands. I don't want, I don't want to grow old into a frustrated old man. I want to be someone who has accepted old age gracefully. And when I would look back at my career, I would know that I worked hard in my life. And at the same time, I've also enjoyed my life. I wouldn't want to just grow old into a man. First of all, I don't know whether I'm going to grow old or not, because life is not in your hands. Death is not something that you can foresee. But if I grow old, I would like to look at myself from a happy perspective, that I led a good, fulfilling life. That's the only thing I aspire to. God has given me everything that anyone can think of, and it's been a very long time. It's not like a short career. For 30 years to be famous and to be happy and to be loved for what you've done in life is a big feat, and I feel I'm very fortunate. uh, One, I keep a balance of enjoying my life and at the same time maintaining some discipline. You cannot always just be disciplined. You see the frustration in one's eyes. I have a good set of people around me, positive people, good people who don't. I don't like people who are always judging other people and talking negative about them. So I have a good set of people who are positive, good people who I want to positive, good, positive. So I keep myself surrounded with nice people, first of all. Secondly, I think when you don't have any stress on your head or shoulder, ambition is a big stress. And to be happy and to be satisfied with what God gave you, I think it shows in your persona. It shows in your aura. So I hope I can maintain that. Of course, age is going to catch up eventually, but as much as I can keep myself happy and positive, uh, I think it's going to catch a little late. It's going to be a little delayed catching up. I'm surprised that a place as beautiful, because I've seen the pictures and the videos that my wife and my son sent me earlier, because I joined them late. They were here from before. I joined them from Mumbai because I wanted to spend some time with my son. So they sent me some pictures and some videos. I haven't gone to those places yet, but from the videos and the pictures, I'm surprised that Bollywood hasn't discovered a beauty like Bosnia. So maybe now that I'm here, I'll see if I can, whatever best I can do to present Bosnia to the Indian film industry, because Indian film industry is huge. They do a lot of films, a lot of work, and they need good locations, they need good facilities, and I'm sure Bosnia, with the right contact, with the right people, the infrastructure would be great, and the facilities would be fine, and Indians won't have any difficulty exploring you know, the large beauty, the quaint locations and the mountains and the sceneries and the rivers and the lakes. I'm sure there's so much over here. So I'll do my best as much as I can do to present Bosnia to India as beautifully as I can.